Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Pleasure to have you with us. It's Q&A time everybody with Dave and Lawrence. And this week we're going to be answering some of your questions. Thank you very much for getting yours in. Eyes to the front everybody. And let us begin. First up, Idiotic Jason with this. What's happened to Manchester United these last two games? Does Falcao deserve to start? Dave?
Gonna go with no. Falcao does not deserve to start. He has not scored since the 31st of January. So that is around 86 days since he's not scored, and he's had a fair few minutes on the pitch. I just think his touch is all off. He doesn't look up for it. He just doesn't look fit. Mentally, he's not there. I think that when he comes on, there's you expect him to score, but he's just not doing that. And I think United have been in the last two games, they've come up against teams that have defended deep against them, and it's sort of found them out that without playing the likes of Angel Di Maria, who should be starting both of those games for me, Ashley Young has been poor, very, very poor. Marouane Fellaini, obviously against Everton, was got booked too early on, and against Chelsea he was done by Kurt Zouma. It's one of those things where it will happen for Man United. Need a bit more tactical variation. The signings that's going to come in the summer, such as Memphis Depay, potentially Gundogan, Matt Hummels, that's going to help with holding possession, breaking teams down. So it's just these things happen.
Lawrence, Falcao, what do you think?
Very much like the Fernando Torres situation.
Yes.
Unhappy at United, that's simple.
At Vincy TDC is asking about Gareth Bale. Will he leave Real Madrid this summer, Lawrence?
Hopefully.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but hopefully.
It'd be good if he did. Back
Yeah.
to the Premier League, but I can't see it.
Why hopefully?
Well, a long journey until the end of the season. I think he'll probably achieve at least one piece of silverware. But I think he'll be better spent elsewhere and probably appreciated
Do
more.
you think they'll win the Champions League or the league?
Yeah, I think they'll win one or the other. I'm not sure that they'll win both.
Do you think he should leave in the summer though?
Yes, and I think I'd love to see him at a team like United.
Yeah.
Dave?
I think so, yeah. He's a bit lost at Real Madrid at the moment. I think he should be moved to the left wing. Probably mentioned that before. That's his best position for me. Just looks like the fans aren't really appreciating him enough. And coming back to the Premier League, that's what you'd get. Love.
At Ross Fields 1 asking, do you think Rodgers will... Rodgers? Yeah, Rodgers.
Yeah, it is
We'll go with
Rodgers, yeah.
Brendan Rodgers. Do you think he'll get sacked? And if so, will Klopp replace him, David?
I don't think he'll get sacked. I think Liverpool have got this project, this vision. I think the signings need to be a lot better this summer. They need to focus on young players, young talented individuals. But Klopp would be the perfect man to take Liverpool potentially to that next level.
Lawrence?
It's an interesting one because obviously Klopp has taken a side to the top of the Bundesliga above the likes of Bayern Munich. I know there wasn't actually that much other competition in the league at the time, and now there's other competition in the league. Maybe Dortmund have suffered, and then you'd say, well, if he comes to the Premier League and it's maybe a slightly more competitive league in a different way than the Bundesliga, then would Klopp really thrive in that league? And maybe Liverpool and Klopp as a combination wouldn't possibly be the best. Liverpool do like their quirky managers, or at least their philosophical manager. I still think Brendan Rodgers fits that mould quite well. And maybe his bullish nature and the way that they'll try and progress things in the summer will benefit them.
Kim V's, or Kim Stipitated. At Kim Stipated.
Stipated.
Kim Stipated.
Oh!
See what they've done there?
Yeah, like with the arms.
Which club do you think Mourinho will coach after Chelsea? Interesting.
Portugal?
Well, not a club, but
No.
team.
Yeah,
We'll
which
change
team?
that too. Do you think
Yeah.
he'll go and manage Portugal?
He said he wanted to do international football, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Later in his career. So
Yeah.
he has said that.
And he's at Chelsea for the foreseeable future. Is the future foreseeable, in a way?
Oh, you could see it with Chelsea for 10 years.
Yeah, but he's never been at a side for that long.
No.
And there was a question asked in The Guardian it's not the question of winning things now, it's the staying power with Mourinho. And I guess the question is,
That's the
if he
challenge.
does stay, can he still win things?
But that's the challenge, Dave, isn't it? That Mourinho has gone and won things everywhere, but he's never actually had real longevity like Wenger or Ferguson. And he'll be well aware of that, and he might think to himself, now he's got the chance at Chelsea where he's got free reign, really. Abramovich, you would imagine, there's always the danger of what happened before.
Yeah.
And perhaps you'd have hoped for Chelsea's sake they've learnt from that. Do you think he'll be at Chelsea for a long time? And then
I generally don't. I think he'll be there again for his cycle, his 4 years, and then that's it.
But then where?
Inter Milan. Similar, Roberto Mancini's there now. And last time it was the same combination of Mancini went
Why
and
would
then
he go
Mourinho
back?
came. Because he said that he wanted to go back.
Why?
Did he?
He's definitely said in the press before that Inter Milan would be a place that he'd like to go back and manage. And
Are
obviously,
you sure?
He didn't
definitely
like Italy
sure.
at all, though, did he?
He didn't know. He had a great time at Inter.
Yeah,
I mean,
But he didn't
cried.
like the Italian press. He hated the Italian press.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't that bad actually.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I thought he didn't. I thought he wasn't getting along very well with him.
Yeah, I mean, but he. I mean, do you remember him crying with Materazzi when he left? You know,
Yeah.
he certainly did like.
had a bond with Inter Milan, you'd say.
Indeed, yes. At Hislop, Nathan is asking.
Thanks, Shaka.
Yeah. No, Nathan Hislop.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah.
His son.
Could be. Who do you think Arsenal should sign this summer, Dave?
Kondogbia. Big central midfield, obviously plays for Monaco. Excellent against Arsenal in the Champions League. Ty Wenger's probably got his eye on him, a young French midfielder. And I think it'd be perfect foil for the midfield of potentially Ramsey and Kondogbia. That could be a brilliant combination together. I still think potentially need a goalkeeper as well. Hugo Lloris could be an interesting one.
Ospina's a decent keeper.
Ospina.
No, not for me. That Champions League against Monaco, who's completely exposed, he was poor in that game. I don't think he's that. He's the level below top keeper, and as well with Szczesny, he's can play excellently but can be dodgy. So I think Arsenal do need to get a top class goalkeeper.
Who should Arsenal sign, Lawrence?
Centre back? 2 centre backs, maybe. Maybe there's a couple of young centre backs.
It's a difficult one because we've seen a couple of the top sides pay very big for centre backs, and it's not really worked out.
Well, then maybe they need a central defensive midfielder that's not Flamini. Maybe
Maybe he's in there.
Well, they need someone else to go alongside that.
Lee Catamon.
A destroyer,
Get him on
if
the
you
cheap
will.
if
Yeah.
Sunderland go down. A few people asking, did Coutinho deserve his spot in the PFA Team of the Year, or did Fabregas or Silva deserve it? You're a big fan of Coutinho.
The little magician, they
Yep.
call him at Anfield, and at the training ground, and just outside Anfield.
Coutinho?
Yeah, lovely player. Lovely. He is amazing to
Yeah,
watch.
he's
I
a
think
good
whether you're a
player.
Liverpool fan or not, he's great to watch. Maybe he will develop.
Not what I'm asking. I'm asking, did he, or the people are asking, did he deserve his spot in the PFA?
At time
Team
of
the Year?
voting, yes, he absolutely did. The point was made, I think, by a number of people. If a vote at another time was cast, Fabregas probably would have got it because Coutinho was lower in form at that point. Coutinho was just very much in the spotlight for Liverpool at the time, and was
When you say when the votes cast,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they don't do it right at the end of the season.
No, they don't, which I find a bit strange.
Yeah.
PFA team of the season, and I think, like you're saying, Lawrence, that the voters have voted at that moment in time. Probably the
So, in
incorrect
that,
way to vote.
so he did deserve it
I'd
at
say
that time.
I'd say no, because it's a team of the season, so he didn't deserve it. And Cesc Fabregas, for his form at the first half of this season, was excellent, and he definitely should have been in that team. You look at David Silva's stats versus Coutinho's stats. David Silva blows him away, scored more goals, got the same amount of assists, completed more passes, created more chances. So for me, it's an odd one. Coutinho is a good player, like you're saying. He is an excellent player to watch.
And we've got a question here from Joshy B _33. What are your thoughts on Bournemouth, and do you think they'll survive in the Premier League? You know, at the time of recording, they haven't played.
Yeah.
I think it's Bolton they're playing. It's a crucial one. So they've got 2 games to go. They look like they'll get an automatic promotion spot with Middlesbrough and Norwich slipping up a little on the weekend. So
Yeah.
Eddie Howe has done a wonderful job. He was voted, indeed, voted manager of the decade in the Football League or the Championship recently. They're a relatively small club. The stadium's only about 13, 14,000.
It's only got 3 sides.
It's only got 3 sides.
But the only one that counts is Bournemouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave, do you think, I mean, presuming that they do go up, how do you think they'll get on in the Premier League?
I think they'll do all right. They'll be, energetic. They'll potentially press teams. They'll hassle them. Matt Ritchie's an absolute wonderful player. He's probably going to stay at Bournemouth for that season. I imagine Bournemouth will go down. They'll get picked up by the Premier League side.
They've got a decent keeper.
They've got a half-decent keeper. They've got a few decent strikers up front, but I don't think they're Premier League level. They've got Andrew Sermon, ex-Southampton. All these players are sort of good Championship players, excellent Championship players, but to make the step up, I doubt it. I think Ritchie's going to be the only one who's going to be at that level, and the rest of the team.
But people thought that about Burnley. Now, Burnley are in the relegation zone, and many people will think they'll probably go down, Lawrence, but they've got a chance of staying up. I mean, Hull as well. Everyone tipped them to go straight back down, and they said, and Bruce did a good job. But Eddie Howe is a very, very innovative manager.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, isn't it? Is the introduction of Eddie Howe to the Premier League will be an interesting one. Because especially also as he's voted Championship Manager of the decade, essentially because that's where his trade has been applied, if you like. We'll see if he can make the step up to the Premier League tactically. You'd imagine that they will also be the kind of darlings of the Premier League because, like you said, because of the stadium, because of the style of football they'll play. That doesn't mean you'll stay up. Just because you're well liked doesn't mean you'll stay up.
There we are. are. Thank you very much indeed for your questions. Do get your comments in below and tell us what you think of all that stuff we've just been talking about. Thank you very much to Dave and Lawrence, and we'll see you next time.